Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Masters in Finance webinar and our online information session. My name is Lucky Singh, and I'm the Student Recruitment Manager for the Masters in Finance program. My job is really to help prospective students find out a little bit more about the program, find out more about the school, and ultimately help you throughout the application process before I then hand over to Peter Johnson and his team of the Masters in Finance admissions team, who will then obviously take care of you from the point that you apply up until when you start onto the program. Joining me today is Anna Shoemaker as well, who is our Masters in Finance Program Director.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
And also joining me today is Peter Johnson, who is our Senior Admissions Manager for the Masters in Finance program.
Hi, everybody.
So the presentation today, so I'll be taking you through a little bit about the LBS community, just giving you an introduction into the school, and then I'll be handing over to Anna, who will take you through the Masters in Finance program in a little bit more detail. We'll be speaking about the current class and how the current class is made up. And then also talking to you about how our Career Centre is here to help support our Masters in Finance students and kind of what to expect from the Career Centre when you're here at LBS. And then Peter and I will be talking a little bit more about how to prepare for your Masters in Finance application, what are our admissions requirements, and what does that process look like. We'll also have a Q&A at the end, so we have plenty of time to answer your questions and any questions that you have. So you can start sending them through now, but we'll be hosting the Q&A session towards the end. Okay, so I just wanted to talk to you very briefly about LBS. As I'm sure you all know, we have a world-class faculty. So our faculty have studied and taught in some amazing institutions across the globe, incredibly diverse. They're also committed to producing cutting-edge research on a regular basis. Their class is one of the finest professors within their fields and often consulted by companies, institutions, governments around the world in some key decision making across business and finance. So very proud that we have such a fantastic faculty at LBS. And then we also have an outstanding peer group. So the Master in Finance program itself obviously attracts some of the best and brightest minds across the globe. But you also have fantastic students on the MBA program, our executive MBA programs, our Sloan program, and across our EC portfolio. And our admissions requirements are quite rigorous. We are looking for people who are very ambitious, very collaborative, and very supportive, and also who have some amazing skills and talents and also want to share that with other people. So you have lots of opportunities to talk and socialize and network with these other individuals through the clubs that we have on campus, through our Career Centre events, and LBS does make sure that everybody is able to feel like they're part of the LBS community when you're here, and also even before you get to LBS too. So I think that's definitely something worth shouting about when it comes to LBS. And then we're also really proud of our London location. So London is obviously a cultural centre, it's a business and finance hub. It's a very diverse city with lots of different people all over the world who come here to either work or study or live as well. So it's a fantastic place and with lots of different opportunities for everybody. And we feel like we're very blessed to have LBS in the centre of London. And then finally, we're very proud of our global mindset. So as I've said, our faculty are very diverse. They come from all over the world, the peer group as well. So most of our classes are, over 90% of them are filled with international students outside of the UK. And we basically want people from different areas of the world to share their experiences and tell us a little bit more about what it's like living outside of the UK. And our programs as well, they are not just focused on one financial hub or one financial market. We're looking at Europe, we're looking at the Americas, we're looking at LATAM, and we're also looking at Asia. So we're looking at business and finance holistically. Our professors are speaking about concepts and giving you information that you can apply outside of just the UK or Europe or the Americas. So hopefully trying to give you a very holistic and global view and approach of business and finance. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about the program itself. So you can see that we have the Masters in Finance full-time program, we have the Masters in Finance part-time program. So in terms of content and the way that and everything you're getting is exactly the same across the programs. The only difference really is the way that the programs are structured. So you can see that our Masters in Finance full-time program is obviously full-time, immersive. You have to just be studying. You can't work at the same time as study. And it's a 10 to 16 month program, whereas our part-time program, you'll be coming in on Fridays and Saturdays every other week in your first year, and then your second year is when you do your electives. So you're also working on a full-time basis for the part-time program. But again, you have the same number of electives. You can do up to 10. This class sizes are a little bit bigger for the full-time, a little bit smaller for part-time, and average work experience is around the same. So we're looking at people with ideally 3 years of postgraduate finance work experience, and you can see the average is around 5.6 for the full-time and about 7 years for the part-time. It's important to know it is a post experience program, so people with less than 3 years of finance work experience are going to be encouraged to apply at a later date, and we have other programs that are targeting people with 0 to 2 years of work experience that could be relevant for you, like the Masters in Financial Analysis program. So yes, you can see that for our part-time program, 23% of the program is made up of female students. We have the average age is around 30. It's a very diverse program. So we have 32 nationalities represented in the class. 84% of the class are international students. And it is quite a experienced group of professionals within the part-time program. And you can see with the full-time program, we have 30% of female students, around the same average age, about the same nationalities represented, and we obviously have a very diverse international cohort of 96% of international students, and about 5.6 is the average work experience. So this is a lovely picture of the Masters in Finance class during orientation week. So we have our dean, we have Peter, we have Anna over there. So this is the program office, and orientation week is obviously the best. Is the first kind of opportunity that you have to meet your peers and just really celebrate being part of the Masters in Finance program. Anna now to take you through a little bit more about the program itself and just give you a bit more detail about that.
Great, thanks very much, Lucky. So hello again, everyone. My name is Anna Shoemaker, and I am the program director for the Masters in Finance program. So my role is to work with teams around the school to deliver your experience. So after you've been admitted to the program and you've worked with Peter and Lucky, you're passed over onto my team, and we handle your experience while you're on the program. So in addition, I lead a program office, as I said, who really shape the day-to-day experience. So you'll have a dedicated program manager once you're on either the full-time or part-time program, and we work with you to support you through the program. So as Lucky said, I'm going to run through the program structure briefly, and I'll go into a bit of detail about the opportunities there are for you to customize your program. So you'll get to see sort of what the standard structure of the program is, but then also there are lots of opportunities for you to tailor this to suit your particular needs. So Lucky already mentioned we have a fantastic faculty, world-class faculty who are teaching on the program, and obviously you're a huge draw of coming to London Business Schools to learn from these faculty members. But another really important thing to point out is the diverse group of people that we do have on the program. So as Lucky said, this is a post-experience program, and what's really unique about it is that you're then learning from this diverse group of people from around the world, and you're able to interact quite a bit, and that's really part of what's so unique about the experience. We expect you to come with views. Your views are encouraged, and what we're really looking for is for a group of people who can bring their perspective, so that you're learning from the world-class faculty and you're also learning from your peers who are out there in the working world. So you'll see here a bit of how the program is designed. So it really is designed to be well-rounded. This isn't just about taking classes. This is really about, as Lucky mentioned, it's a holistic, sort of well-rounded educational experience. So you'll see there's obviously, fundamental finance knowledge that you'll need to have. That's of course part of the program and the academic content, but there are lots of opportunities to really specialize in and apply what you're learning. So we'll cover a little bit more about how you can do that specifically in a moment. There's also a really vast ongoing professional and personal development element to the program as well. So it's really about you as a person, and you will have the opportunity to structure things so that you are addressing your particular goals and what you want to get out of the program, essentially. So you'll see here there are sort of 3 stages to the journey itself. So we start off with what we call a pre-program. So there are some opportunities for you to take online courses actually before the course starts officially. Then there are, of course, the core courses that you'll take while on the program. Then you have the opportunity to specialize with our electives, which we'll talk about in a second. And of course, as I mentioned, the professional development program, which really runs across the entire program while you're here. So as I said, the pre-program starts off with online courses. So you'll take a couple of prep courses just to get everyone kind of up to speed before the core courses start, where you really get into sort of the fundamental finance knowledge. So you'll see here the courses that you'd be taking. In addition to the finance courses, I think another unique thing about the program really is it's not just about the finance courses. You'll see we have a couple of other courses as well. As part of the personal and professional development program, you'll take a course in your personal assessment and development at the very beginning of the program. And this course is really about setting yourself up to understand what your goals are, where you're at, where you want to be at the end of this program. And then you'll create a personal action plan so you can guide yourself through the program and make sure you're staying on track with everything that you're wanting to do while you're here. So I think a really excellent part of the program as well is the amount of electives that you have to choose from. So this is where you'll get to specialize, you'll get to take the courses that particularly appeal to you, and you get to choose from approximately 50 electives each year, and you can take between 8 and 10 electives while you're on the program. So it's quite a large number to choose from, which is really is quite an important element, I think, to highlight, is that there are quite a lot of choices for you. So you'll see when you're taking your electives, these are primarily finance courses, but there's also some strategy and organizational behavior courses in there as well, so that you're getting that well-rounded experience. So on the next slide here, you'll see this sort of highlights the professional development offering that I spoke about already. So we have a dedicated career center who support with coaching, networking events, career transition, acceleration, and Lucky will speak a bit more in detail about them later on. You'll see there are a couple predetermined elements. So the personal development course, which I spoke about, and there are a number of technical and professional skills courses that you'll choose from, which I'll speak about in more detail in a minute and explain what those are. So on the next slide here, so throughout your program, so on your regular core courses, on your elective courses, you will have lots of real-world practitioners who are coming in to speak in your classes. What we also offer as part of the Masters in Finance program is an optional set of practitioner courses that you can choose to take part in. So you can take as many or as few as you'd like. You can see the ones that we ran last year here. I'm happy to say we've created a new one for this next coming academic year, which will focus on strategy for finance. So we're constantly, redeveloping and adding things to the program as well. So these courses are really they're put in place essentially to complement the academic learning. So it gives you the opportunity to take what you've learned in the classroom and really apply it with real life application and get a chance to speak with some really incredible guest speakers that our practitioners line up. So it's a really excellent highlight of the program, I think. And it's something we also invite our alumni to. So it's a great way to interact with the wider MIF community as well. So on the next slide, as I spoke about before, the professional development offering in terms of the technical and professional skills that you'll do while you're on the program. So this happens alongside everything else that you're doing. This is really the professional skills strand. It's a requirement of your program, and it's really designed to support you on your journey while you're on the program, and it really helps you develop those advanced soft skills that you need to be able to perform at a high level. So you'll see some of the professional skills workshops we ran this past academic year. You would complete 2 of these while you're on the program, and you have the option to do more as well if that's something that is interesting to you as spaces become available. And as part of the program, you'll also complete a technical skills workshop. So these really are not here to make you an expert in modeling or a programmer, but what they really do is they're here to give you a broad understanding and an opportunity to practice and develop. So it's really about the foundation for future development. Many of these skills courses run in more in-depth versions in our student clubs, which I'll talk about later on as well. So that's something that you can add to sort of complement your learning as well when you're on the program. So on the next slide, as Lucky said, it's really, it's hugely important to us that we have a global mindset. I think it's definitely a pillar of the school and very important to us. So obviously you'll be learning from your peers who are from all over the world while you're on the program, but you then also have the opportunity to take a global opportunity as well. So, and study in a different location if that's something that you want to do when you're on the program. So we have a few different options. We have a block week exchange, which can be particularly interesting for our part-time students. So that means you would travel for a week to study somewhere else, essentially. So typically the partners we have right now are Columbia Business School in New York and also Gordon Institute of Business Science in South Africa. So if that's interesting to you, you can take a week course there. And then you would bring those credits back as part of your program. So you can also choose, both full-time and part-time students have the option to choose a full-term exchange. You apply during your program to basically just take a term somewhere else, and you'd bring those credits back to LBS essentially. So our current partners, we have partners in Tsinghua in Beijing, CEIBS in Shanghai, HKUST in Hong Kong, NUS in Singapore. We've recently added some schools in Europe. So we have a partnership with IE in Madrid and also Frankfurt School of Management. So we're continuing to review those, but those are our current partners as well. And these opportunities are available in your second year if you're a part-time student. And if you choose to stay for an additional term as a full-time student, that's when you'd be going to study in a different location. Another really excellent part of the program, which is specific to the MIF, is the Global Immersion Elective, which we run. So next year, our plan is to travel to Frankfurt and Paris. And this is really, it's an intensive trip abroad, but it's a course abroad as well. So it's led by faculty who will frame the discussion while we're in these locations. So the idea for our last trip was regulating financial markets and institutions. So you'll be doing lots of visits to companies, you'll have guest speakers. This counts as an elective essentially, and it gives you current insights into trends sort of as they're happening basically. So you would work with a group of other students while you're there, and it's really just about kind of company visits and getting that opportunity to have face time with companies abroad. And there's also the opportunity to take some block week courses in Dubai, which are taught by LBS faculty. So that's sort of part of the LBS campus essentially, but in Dubai. So on the next slide here, one thing that we really are very proud of is the student community. Really, it's really what's I think the most unique thing about LBS. There are more than 75 clubs to choose from that you can get involved in while you're on the program. They arrange some really amazing speaker events, career presentations, and it's a way to network with students from other programs. So as Lucky mentioned, we have several other degree programs, and this is a great way to network with those people as well as to get involved in these clubs. So some popular ones that our students have gotten involved in the past are there's a Women in Business Club, Private Equity Club, Finance Club, but there's also lots of sort of personal, social clubs that you can get involved in as well. So there's really a lot to get involved in, and there's really something for everyone. So it's something that you should take advantage of, and there'll be essentially more than you could possibly take advantage of. But it's a really great part of being a part of the community as well. So on the next slide here, so I spoke a little bit about the program office before, but this is just something I want to highlight as well. So as I said, if you're on the full-time program or the part-time program, you'll have a dedicated program manager who will, they'll be sending you regular emails to make sure that you're getting all the information that you need, that you're staying up to date with what you need to do to be successful and kind of complete the program. So that's what they're here to do, is to provide that support. We also have the Career Center. So as I said, Lucky will speak about them in a bit more detail, but they put together a really excellent professional development offering. There are also the options sort of from an academic perspective. We do run tutorials for your core courses. So these are really a chance for you to ask questions after the lectures and work through material that's been covered in classes. So this is an optional but definitely recommended part of the program. You also have the opportunity to elect class representatives. So these are people that will represent the views of your class to the program office. So we meet regularly with the class reps to just get a sense of how the class are doing, where we can help improve, and where things are working. And it's a really useful relationship for us and for you, I think, to feedback how things are going on the program. In addition, we do have a visa and financial aid team as well. We have well-being services and counseling services, should that be something you choose to take advantage of when you're on the program. So that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour from me, but I will hand over back to Lucky now, who will talk a bit more about the Career Center.
Great, thank you so much, Anna. So I wanted to quickly tell you a little bit about the Career Center and our Career Center offering. So we actually have 2 dedicated Masters in Finance career coaches who will work with you across the year or the 2 years that you're here. This is at the moment Kelly Elmer and Raquel Santos. We do have another career coach. So Kelly's actually not working on the MIF anymore, but you'll be able to speak to our other consultant. But yeah, so our 2 career coaches are very experienced within business and finance, and are there to provide you with a lot of support and lots of interactive workshops and things like that throughout the 2 years, and obviously to allow you to make as much to make the most of as many opportunities that come your way, and obviously to open you up to lots of other opportunities that are available to you. So in terms of kind of who the Career Center is and the kinds of people that you'll be speaking to outside of the career coaches, so we have visiting executives that will come to speak to our students. We'll have dedicated Career Center days where you'll be able to speak to different finance specialists within the space of private equity, let's say, or venture capital, or M&A, for example. We also have sector leads. So these are individuals within our Career Center who are working cross program, but their speciality is in different areas of business and finance. So we have a private equity, we have a venture capital leads, but they're available for you across those 2 years. We also have sector leads within the space of consulting, and also technology and diversified sectors. And then we also have peer leaders. So this is usually sort of second year sort of students or people within the LBS community who have particular niche areas of knowledge and experience that they'd like to share with other students at LBS. You can either take advantage of our peer leaders or become a peer leader yourself. And they're just a great way of making the most of the LBS community and people sharing their experiences. So the kinds of things that our sector leads and also our career coaches on the MIF will be working with you on are things like career and professional development. So we have a range of different workshops and online resources for our Masters in Finance students that are they're available for you across the 2 years. In terms of workshops, these are things like workshops on getting your CV ready, conducting interviews, negotiating a pay rise, really practical skills that you need in the world of work, that you can and a really good opportunity in a very safe space to practice these skills and learn these important skills and kind of gain that experience. They'll also have things like alumni breakfast series across the year or the 2 years, which is alumni coming in and speaking to our students within the different areas of business and finance. So, you know, we have alumni within the private equity space that will come in and talk to you about the kinds of, you know, what did it take for them to break into these markets? What are our recruiters and companies looking for, and how can you really set yourself apart and make yourself really unique and different, and obviously be a strong candidate. And in terms of the online resources, so we have a range of different online platforms that you can use. So we have Leap on the Career Center, which is an online platform that allows you to see the different opportunities that the LBS Career Center are making you aware of. This could be internship opportunities, it could be job opportunities. They're both UK based, but also international opportunities that you can apply for. They'll be telling you things like when do internship applications open. They'll be giving you lots of resources to help guide that journey and make sure that you have all the dates and information that you need in order to obviously apply for these things and make a successful application. And then we also have fantastic career coaching that is available. So obviously our two career leads and our sector leads and our visiting executives are available for you in order for you to do a one-on-one session where you'll be basically talking about your career goals, and they'll be guiding you, they'll be coaching you on things of, you know, helping you define what it is you want, what would really suit you, what is it that really excites you, and then kind of putting a plan in place to help you get there. They'll be talking to you about, you know, the kind of soft skills that you're going to need and show, also any technical skills that you need to really, you know, really understand and really learn. And basically, they're just a really good opportunity to have a good sounding board and understand what it is that you want and perhaps what it is that you don't want, and just help really guide your journey. And then we have to tell you about, so these are global, regional, and sector specific trends. This is things like where are job opportunities in the world, what are the kind of salary benchmarks for different roles in different countries, you know, what are the kinds of things that people have done that really got them to those job opportunities or those regions. Really, really useful and insightful information that's going to help your career plan and career journey. So you can see the kind, you know, in terms of the support and the kinds of responsibility that the Career Center takes on. This is helping you to explore opportunities. So speaking to you about the kinds of things that might interest you, the kind of things that are out there that perhaps you didn't know about. You know, you might not know that there are certain boutiques that will allow you to understand, and certain boutiques out there that will be good and right for you that perhaps you never knew about. They help you researching companies. So a lot of what they do is employer engagement. About 50%, you know, 50% of their time is engaging with employers and trying to find internship opportunities or job opportunities for MIFs and for our students on other programs. And then sourcing opportunities. So really helping you to you know, nail that interview and really find your dream job. They'll help you prepare for your application and prepare for your interview, help you finalize your offers, and then obviously support you once you graduate and obviously find your job. We do have career support for our alumni as well, that you can make the most of. So it's never that you never say goodbye to LBS. It's a continuous and ongoing journey, and then the Career Center is there to support you through that. So yeah, like I said, the kind of online resources are things like LBS Careers, Leap, Career Central, and there are also online resources that allow you to engage with alumni of the school and of the program. And obviously this is really useful because it might be that you are targeting a certain company, and obviously we have over 45,000 alumni across the world. So there's definitely going to be somebody you can speak to from the LBS community that will help you to find out more about your dream job, or give you more information that will be really useful. And then we have externally hosted online resources that the Career Centre will make you aware of. Like I mentioned, the in-person career support that you have from them. You have our employment events. So we always have career coaches, career fairs every couple of months on campus that you can make the most of. So this will be, the Career Centre will invite recruiters and companies to talk to you about the opportunities that they're looking for, that are available for our students, and what is it that they're looking for from us and from candidates who are looking to work at these institutions. And then club activities. So as Anna mentioned, we have over 80 student-led clubs, and these are actually a fantastic opportunity to broaden your network within the space that you're looking to enter or looking to advance in. They're a good way of building up new skills, building up your repertoire, building up the information that you know about, let's say, maybe it's, impact investing or private equity or venture capital. You're getting that network, you're getting extra skills, you're getting connected to alumni, and you'll also be able to, contact different individuals. You'll be able to speak to guest speakers who have fantastic roles within these areas. So you'll get really useful insights from these clubs. We also have treks. So we have student-led treks in different areas of the world, and often our students, if they've come from, let's say, Tel Aviv, they will often take a couple of students to their hometown and basically go on perhaps like a tech trek across their city, and just basically liaise with and talk to lots of different companies and individuals that they think would really be useful to kind of broaden your horizons and find out more about this area of business and finance. Okay, so now I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the application process, and once you've decided that the MIF is right for you and that you'd actually like to go for the Master in Finance program, this is when you can start thinking and doing your these are the kinds of things that will help you to do your research in a little bit more detail, and kind of allow you to make sure that this is the right program for you and the right next move for you. So I'd say the first thing to do is definitely to look at our website. So we have, on the website is where you can download our Master in Finance program, the opportunities available to you on the program, who came onto the program, where did they come from, what do people often do post-graduation, and also that information can be found in our class directory and employment report, which is on the website as well. Please submit your CV for review. I'm the CV will basically come to myself or my colleague Charlotte. So you'll probably end up receiving an email from me or Charlotte once you've submitted your CV for review, where we'll be telling you whether we think that you'd be a good fit for the program. We'd offer you some advice. We'll offer you a one-to-one consultation over the phone or through a video call to get to know you a little bit more, and it's an opportunity for you to ask us any questions about the school, the application process, about the Career Centre. We can put you in touch with student ambassadors as well, and just give you a good insight and sort of introduction into the school and the application process. And also you'll know that you do have the right profile for the program, and that we're really going to encourage you to apply. And you can also speak to student ambassadors. So like I said, we'll connect you to student ambassadors, but you can also go onto our website now and speak to any student ambassador on the Master in Finance program. It might be that you want to talk to somebody perhaps with a similar sort of background to you, who who is an M&A or private equity, or perhaps is of a similar nationality, so that you can kind of get an understanding of what life was like moving from one area of the globe to London, and kind of the adjustments that perhaps people had to make, or what were their highlights. So that's a really, really good opportunity for you to just get immersed in the student experience. So please do speak to our student ambassadors. They're a really lovely bunch. And then attend an event. So obviously this is fantastic. You're here. This is probably one of the best events that you could come to just to get a good overview of what the program is all about, and what the process is looking like. But we have a range of different events that you can attend. So we have regular webinars, which is in conversation with our Masters in Finance students. We have webinars that take you through the program content in more detail, like our concentrations and our electives. And we have specific, recruitment and admissions, how to submit strong application webinar. So if you haven't already, please do attend those. They're a really good place to just learn a little bit more about the program, what it is that we're looking for, and also to ask any questions that you have. And then last but not least, we have a student and admissions blog. So this is a blog where staff members, so myself, Peter, Anna, our students will be sharing insights and information to prospective students in order for them to gain more information about the program, gain more information about the application process and submit a strong application, and obviously just understand a little bit more about the LBS community. So if you haven't taken a look, please do. And you can find everything that I've mentioned here on our website. But if you have any issues, you can just email me and I'll be able to send you the link. Okay, so as you can see on the website, you can see this is where you submit your CV for review. And this is what our student ambassador page looks like. So you're able to just have a look at our student ambassadors. There's a bit of an overview into them, their profile, what they're all about, and then you have their email address. So you just drop them an email and then maybe set up a call with them if you'd like, or you could just ask them a quick email, a quick question via email. And this is what our blog looks like. So you can see that Lucy Palin, our MIF admissions manager, wrote a program and sort of the reflection of their year so far. Fantastic. So thank you for listening so intently. I'm going to pass over to Peter to take you through our admissions requirements.
Great, thank you very much, Lucky and Anna. That was a really good overview. So if you're excited by this opportunity, what I wanted to do is just really walk you briefly through the admissions requirements and give you some tips about how to submit a strong application. So next slide. Okay, so broadly what we're looking for are a set of characteristics, and the whole of the application process is designed with a number of touch points, really to establish this, to give you the opportunity really to sell yourself with regard to these kind of characteristics. So the first one is fairly obvious. It's academic capability. It's an intensive, it's a very challenging program. So we need to know that you have the ability to do well on the program. And we can judge this in a number of means. Your performance in previous studies is very important. So we ask for your transcripts as part of the application. GMAT and GRE we use, and I'll touch on that in a bit more detail probably during the Q&A. And also we're looking at the content of your job. So looking at the kind of intellectual challenges and the kind of skills you're using in your day-to-day work. We're looking for leadership potential. Now that doesn't mean that you're already running a team or running larger projects, but it does mean that we hope that you have that potential and you will become a finance leader over time. So a lot of the program content is designed to encourage that, particularly I think a lot of the skills elements that Anna touched on earlier. And as Lucky said early on, we're looking for a global mindset. And again, we're not teaching British finance, we're teaching finance from an international perspective. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't previously worked or studied outside your home country. What does matter to us is that you're aware of finance as a global industry. You're aware of political developments internationally, and you're eager to work in a very diverse environment, which is eager to discuss all of those global elements. So next slide. Okay, so the application process is really very straightforward. The application form itself is all online. The application form for the 2021 intake will go live on the 1st of August. So the application form itself asks for a series of data about you and your work experience, your academic background, etc. Once we've got all of that, we then review your application, and if we think you're potentially a good fit for the program, we will call you for interview, and that will be a one-to-one interview, and that will be with one of our alumni. And at the moment, all of our interviewing is online, but the minute the pandemic's environment situation starts to ease, we'll move back to in-person interviewing. So you meet one of our alumni and they'll talk through your CV, your aspirations, what you believe you'll benefit from the program, you'll contribute. And the alum then writes a report for us, and then the whole of your application, including that report, goes to the admissions committee, which meets very regularly, and then the admissions committee makes a final decision on your application. So next, please. So just going into a bit more detail on the application requirements, as I say, the application form itself is online. We ask for 2 professional references. Very occasionally, people will submit 1 professional reference and 1 academic reference. We're fine with that, but if you are submitting an academic reference, it should be from a professor who's continued to follow your career development. So continuing to be a mentor after you've graduated. If all they're talking about is your previous studies, we really already know that from your transcripts. So in that case, an academic reference really doesn't add much value. So most people will submit 2 professional references. If you're not comfortable with telling your employer that you're applying, that's fine. It can be a previous employer, it can be a colleague, it can be a client. Really the requirement is that it's somebody who knows you well in a work context. There are 2 essay questions which focus very much on what you believe you'll benefit from the program, but equally importantly, what you'll contribute. It's a highly collaborative learning environment, and it's very much a networked environment. So we want people who are going to be great team members, are going to be very much engaged in all the opportunities that LBS offers. So the second question focuses very much on what you'll contribute during your time at LBS. We are asked for GMAT or GRE, and let me say a bit more about that. There's already been a few questions. We're perfectly happy to give you feedback on whether we're going to require this or whether we would give you a waiver. And that's a discussion we would normally have after we've reviewed your CV. So if you're looking for a GMAT or a GRE waiver, the first step is to submit your CV for review. We find GMAT and GRE quite useful because they're standardizing tests. But also we're aware that people have time constraints, and sometimes it's the case that GMAT or GRE doesn't necessarily add substantial additional information for us. And in that instance, we would be prepared to grant a GMAT GRE waiver. The most common reason for that is that you've got excellent grades in quant subjects from a top university. Also, if you have CFA level 2, we would automatically grant a GMAT waiver. Now, there'll be other instances where we give a waiver on the basis of other qualifications, or perhaps purely on the basis of the fact that you're doing a highly quant job. So given that each individual will be quite different in that, that's a discussion that we find it useful to have after we've reviewed your CV. You're also welcome to submit your application in advance of GMAT or GRE, because we very often will make offers conditional on a good score in one of those two tests. And finally, as I said, we ask for transcripts of your grades in previous university studies. So next slide, please. So I think broadly, one of the best ways to prepare your application is to, sorry, can you go back one? One of the best ways to prepare is spending time reflecting on what your goals are. And this isn't just your professional goals, it's really your life goals. Don't just think about the next job. It's where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years time. Think about what your strengths are, what you're good at, but also think about what you find more challenging and what skills and knowledge you need to acquire to be a really successful finance professional. So within that, I think self-awareness is a really important attribute for us. We're clearly looking for a high degree of motivation. And we're also, as I've already said, considering what you'll contribute to your study group, to your class, and to the wider LBS community. So next slide. Okay, for application deadlines, the next intake of the program starts on the 17th of August. So if you want to submit a late application for this year's intake, you need to move extremely fast. And I would suggest you immediately drop an email to Lucky and her team. And the email address is mif@london.edu. So we can talk through whether we think this makes sense. We can walk you through the logistics. If it's not an application for this intake, the next intake is August 2021. We'll be confirming the dates in the next few days, but they'll be the same. They'll be this, as I'm showing on the screen here, plus or minus a day or two. So we have 7 rounds for the part-time program, and for each round, there's a date by which we make the interview decision and a date by which we make the final decision. Now, in reality, we're reviewing applications all the time, so we're not waiting for the end of each stage before we release interview or admissions decisions. My general advice here is to apply as early as you can. It will always be somewhat easier. It's somewhat easier when you're applying the earlier rounds, particularly if there are issues like visas or if you're relocating, certainly if you're hoping to be awarded a scholarship. But we are reviewing all the way through. So my real advice is apply as early as you can, but don't rush it. Make sure you're fully prepared before you apply. So for the full-time program, there are 5 application stages in total. with the final one being in late April 2021. But as I say, if it's a late application for this year, email us today at mif@london.edu. I think that's me. Yes, it is.
Great, thank you so much, Peter. That was really great. I'd like to open the Q&A session now. I know we've had a couple of questions come through, so we'll just start answering those. But yes, please keep sending them through. But as Peter mentioned, if you have really specific questions to do with your own profile, that you feel is going to require us to kind of see your CV or just have a more of a chat with you, then please email mif@london.edu. You can see it below. But what we're going to try and do, I know we're quite limited on time, is to answer more of the general questions that will be applicable for most of you, and then we'll try and answer your specific questions in an email. So yes, please do email us if you have a specific question.
Can I jump in with one immediately that perhaps Anna and I can cover?
Yeah, go ahead.
Which is, a couple of people asked about what the teaching format is going to be for the 2020 class in light of the current pandemic. Anna, maybe you could start off with that.
Yeah, of course. So we are starting on time for lots of reasons, but it's really best to kind of keep the program where it is. There are lots of things to consider, obviously employment cycles, that sort of thing. So we're keeping the program starting as is. It will start off virtual. So we'll have online courses, basically. We're using a format of Zoom for that. And we'll be moving into a hybrid version of teaching in September, where that will allow for us to be able to adhere to social distancing rules. So some students will be able to be present, some will be able to be virtual, and everything will be delivered sort of at the same time. So that's currently, we're doing a lot of work towards that right now. We're working with students to develop sort of the best delivery for everyone. So there's a lot of consultation happening right now with students and around the school, but we'll be moving to a hybrid model. And then of course we're, considering whether things do change in the world, that obviously might change our model depending on what's permitted and what we're allowed to do, but that's what we're looking at right now.
The only thing I would add is that from a visa point of view, we're also allowing for the fact that in some countries it's just not possible to travel yet. And we've made arrangements that people who require a visa for the UK will be able to join later than they would in a normal year.
Great, thank you so much. So we've had a question which is about the part-time program and whether you need to be in the UK to do the part-time program, and how often would you need to be in class. I can take this, and then Anna, you can add anything else. So you should be in the UK or at a commutable distance. So we do have a couple of students on the part-time program who will commute from places like Central Europe. We have a couple of people who commute from France or from Belgium. But you need to be on campus on Friday evenings. So usually classes start from 7 p.m. To 9 p.m. On Fridays, and then Saturdays you're basically on campus all day. So from about 9 till 4:30, and that's every other week. And then your second year, it's a little bit more flexible. Obviously, you still need to be here, but you might decide to do electives on weekends or block weeks. So you can decide and figure out when it's best for you. But definitely in your first year, you have to be able to be in London on campus on Friday evenings and Saturdays every other week.
I'll chime in here just because I've seen another question.
Okay. And then
Oh, sorry, and a bit more detail here, just in terms of how we balance the part-time and full-time program content being the same. Essentially, because the part-time program is across 2 years, you're only taking one course each term in the first year, and then you move on to electives in your second year. Whereas on the full-time program, everything is condensed into 1 year. So that's sort of how that works out.
Great, thank you. So we have a question about the LBS job boards and kind of the opportunities for graduates with 7 to 9 years of work experience. So, you know, do we cater for mid-management roles as opposed to entry-level roles? Yes, we do. And that's why we are very, you know, strict about the fact that we need 3 to 4 years of postgraduate work experience for students to come onto the LBS Masters in Finance program. Our career coaches are recruiting for those you know, are looking and engaging with employers at that mid-career point. So you will have access to those job opportunities, and you will be told when there are kind of internship opportunities for the roles that are mid-career, at the mid-career point. So yes, there are.
Can I just add to that? The job boards will go from entry level up to C-suite roles, because the job boards are covering people from our entire range of programs. So everything from Masters in Management, Masters in Financial Analysis through to Sloan.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Consulting companies on strategy and transaction. So Sahil, I think that kind of question we'll talk to you privately about. So if you just email me, we can then speak about that, and I can give you a bit more detail. So yeah, so James is asking about the applications and sort of, you know, how are we putting the class together? Are we trying to create a balanced class? And sort of, you know, what are the considerations that we take into account? Peter, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yes, we're very much looking for a diverse class, so that at every point we are looking at the current class composition when we're considering our next round of offers. We're looking for a number of elements of diversity, diversity of gender for sure. We're looking for a wide range of countries to be represented. And we're trying to avoid having any one nationality being more than, say, 10 to 15% of the class. But the other really important one we're looking for is diversity of finance work experience. I think sometimes people get the impression that this is a program just for investment bankers or just for people working in corporate finance. And that's definitely not the case. We have a lot of people from regulators, we have auditors, we have people working in VC and PE, asset management. We'll even have a small number of maybe financial journalists and people working in IT, where understanding finance at a high level is a really important part of their role. So the task for my team is obviously to achieve a very high quality class, but at the same time looking for a very diverse class as well. So yes, I think, you know, anybody who scores well in all of those perspectives is going to be an even stronger applicant.
Definitely. And we had a question about references. So Christian's asking, you know, can you can you enter your reference details into the application before you submit? And we can.
See it, Lucky. Not yet. People shouldn't enter their reference into the system until after the new application form goes live, but they can render their reference information then, so that their referees are starting to work on their application in advance of them submitting it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So we have time for one question. We've got a minute or two left. So we have a question about international work experience, and you know, that question about how to show that you have international exposure. You know, it seems like this candidate has experience working with people in different countries. Is that classified as international work experience or
Absolutely,
exposure.
Lucky. We'd be perfectly comfortable with that. It's everything where people have engaged with teams, either in person or just by online collaboration. On that international perspective, can I answer one more question quickly, which is where people are residing in the part-time program. And there were a few questions on this where I think people weren't very clear. Just to be clear, even if we're starting off with blended virtual learning, this is not an online program. So people do need to be based in London, Western Europe. I think the furthest somebody is traveling this year is from Russia, but that's really very, very challenging. So if people are thinking of maybe attending from the US, we would have that discussion, but we'd be very cautious about the logistics of that. In some instances, that will require a visa if that's what people want to do. And that visa is available and we can work with you on that. But I would say that it's very much designed, given that it requires regular attendance on campus. We believe that it's primarily a program for people in the UK and Western Europe.
Great. Perfect. Thank you so much. Fab. So I think that takes us up to our time. I just wanted to say thank you, Peter and Anna, for joining me today. It's been great having you here. And thank you everyone for sending your questions. Please, if we haven't answered your questions, or if you have any other questions or want to send us your CV, please do. Our email address is at the bottom here. And just stay tuned. We've got a lot of webinars coming for the rest of the year. And just wanted to say applications for next year will be opening very, very soon. I think the application form is live now, Peter, right?
No, I think it's still the current application form. It will actually go live just before the 1st of August.
Yeah, so it's opening pretty soon, which is exciting. But yeah, we're here for you to have a chat with us and engage with us. So please just email us or give us a call